I traveled to Indonesia before and got food poisoning, and it's something that I will never forget. It was not an enjoyable experience. So anytime I travel to a new country, I'm always a little bit wary about what I'm eating and want to make sure I stay safe. So when I first came to China, I was a little bit nervous, some anxiety about what will I eat and is it safe to eat and will I get food poisoning and things like that. Generally speaking, almost every place in China is very, very safe to eat. They certainly have restrictions and regulations for food quality and hygiene. The first time I went to a restaurant with my friends, I thought I'm going to play it safe. I'll order off the menu and I'll find a dish that I'm familiar with. So I found chow fan, which is Chinese fried rice. So I ordered a fried rice, and then every person at the table, there was maybe 6 or 8 people. Every person chose one or two dishes from the menu, and then I was expecting that, like in Western countries, the dishes would arrive and the fried rice would come to me and the steak would go to another person and the chicken would go to the person that ordered it and so on like that. That was my experience. As a Westerner, you go to a restaurant, you order your meal and that's what you eat. So when the dishes arrived, they all went into the middle of the table and I immediately grabbed the large plate of fried rice and brought it in front of me and started eating it. And then I noticed people were leaning over the table to take a spoon of my rice. The person over here leaning over, taking some rice, the person over here taking some rice. And I said, hey, what's going on here? And then I noticed everybody was taking bits and pieces off all of the dishes. And I said, what's going on? They said, this is how we eat in China. We share the dishes together. Everyone gets to enjoy little bits and pieces of all of the different dishes. And I thought about that. At first, I was like, what about my rice? I wanted my rice. But then I actually discovered that I got to try dishes that I would not normally have tried or would not have ordered myself. And that's how I very quickly learnt how to try and experience so many different foods in China and find the things that I really liked and the things that I did not enjoy. But that's all part of the community. Yeah, when you go to a family dinner in China, that's how the eating is done. The dishes go in the middle of the table and they usually spin around on a lazy Susan and people sharing little bits and pieces. So when you do come to China, be prepared to experience and try so many different types of foods. They are all delicious. And depending on where you come from in China, the food can be very, very different. You learn so much about the Chinese culture through eating, and it's a very, very wonderful experience to have that community feeling where people get together and eat. It's a very important part of China culture. Welcome to China.